The sky above the Nevada desert split open like a jagged wound. A streak of obsidian fire tore through the atmosphere, trailing smoke and the kind of silence that screams in your bones. Sergeant Rex Doyle didn't flinch. He watched the alien vessel crash with all the enthusiasm of a man witnessing yet another Monday. "Hot one today," he muttered, squinting at the rising column of flame through polarized lenses. Behind him, the squad murmured nervously. These weren't rookies. They'd served together in Cairo, the Jovian food riots, even that Martian rebel incident. But this was different. The creature that had escaped wasn't just a threat. It was the threat. Dr. Cowrie, hunched beside the mobile command unit, adjusted her translator collar and hissed through clenched mandibles. "You need to evacuate. That is a Zerzal Enforcer-class predator. You don't understand what's coming." Doyle turned, chewing slowly on a piece of cinnamon gum. "Doc, if it bleeds, it can be killed." Cowrie's pupils dilated in what humans had learned was the echoey equivalent of shouting. "It doesn't bleed, Sergeant. It absorbs kinetic impact. It manipulates pheromonal fear. It is, quite literally, genetically tailored to dominate your psychological and physical senses." Doyle spat the gum onto the sand, crushing it with his boot. "So, you're saying it's big, scary, and ugly?" A tremor ran through the ground. Not subtle. Not seismic. Rhythmic. Footsteps. Private Garza let out a low whistle. "Tell me that's not it." They didn't need to be told. The Zerzal emerged from the smoldering crater like a god woken too early. 12 feet tall, obsidian skin shifting with impossible texture. Its eyes burned a glacial blue. Its claws were more for punctuation than combat. When the Zerzal struck, you were already dead. The gesture was just a period on your story. Cowrie stumbled backward. "Weapons will only agitate it. Please. Leave now. Agitation builds character," Doyle muttered. The squad spread into position. Advanced plasma rifles powered up with an electric hum. Doyle remained still, arms folded, watching the predator approach. It moved with deceptive grace, a slow predatory stride, knowing there was no need to rush. Every creature in its presence knew who the apex was. Every creature but one. "Sergeant!" Lieutenant Marquez's voice came sharp through the calm. "High Command says stand down. Evac orders just came through. It's above your pay grade." Doyle tapped his earpiece. "Then they can come fire me in person." The creature stopped 20 meters away. It raised its head slightly, nostrils flaring. Garza screamed. Dropped his rifle. Ran. The Zerzal didn't even move. The fear pheromones did the work. Doyle sighed. "Garza's off the Christmas list." Cowrie spoke in a low voice, as if volume might trigger the thing. "This is suicide, Sergeant. That thing slaughtered an entire planetary defense force on Vo-9 in under 4 minutes. It absorbs directed energy. It laughs at ballistics. You cannot win." Doyle stepped forward. One pace. Calm. Unarmed. The squad didn't move. Not because they were brave. Because no one knew what the hell to do. The Zerzal tilted its head. Curious. This was new. "You," it said, voice like bone on ice. "You do not run." Doyle cracked his neck. "You ever heard of a human hangover? That's what this feels like. You picked the wrong day." It advanced. Cowrie screamed a warning. The squad raised their weapons in panic. Doyle raised a hand. "Stand down." The Zerzal crouched, muscles coiled. Doyle stepped within arm's reach. "Primate," it rasped. "You face extinction." "No," Doyle said, rolling his shoulders. "I face Monday." The creature lunged. And the world waited. Everything froze for a moment, not metaphorically. Literally. The sand paused mid-tumble. The squad stood trapped in an instant, like flies in amber. And then Doyle moved. One hand. Open. Swift. A slap. Not a punch. Not a strike. A slap. The kind your grandmother gave you for swearing in church. The kind that rewired your DNA. The Zerzal's head snapped sideways. Its body followed, twisting, legs leaving the ground. It hit the dirt like a dropped monument, cratering the desert floor with a finality no one dared speak. Silence. Doyle stood over it, hand tingling. Cowrie, trembling, whispered, "What did you just do?" Corrected its attitude. He turned, walking back toward the stunned squad. Behind him, the most feared predator in the galaxy lay still. And across 500,000 light-years, sensors, satellites, and terrified observers stared at a new name etched into galactic infamy. Human. The story wasn't over. Not by a long shot. But the rules had just changed. And it started with a slap. The footage played on 1,000 alien networks at once. Across every major star system, sentient beings leaned closer to their holoscreens in disbelieving silence, rewinding the moment frame by frame. There it was. Sergeant Rex Doyle, a mid-level Earth military operative with the posture of someone who'd just been woken from a nap, delivering a single, open-handed blow to a creature whose name, up until 5 minutes ago, had been synonymous with unstoppable death. The Zerzal's body had remained motionless for a full 2 minutes after impact. Not dead, exactly, but stunned in the truest sense, like a computer forced to reboot after encountering an input it couldn't parse. Inside the field tent, chaos raged. Galactic Command demanded explanations. Earth's planetary governors demanded replays. Meanwhile, Dr. Cowrie sat cross-legged in the corner, eyes unfocused, muttering equations under her breath. Doyle poured himself a cup of terrible instant coffee and sipped. "It shouldn't be possible," she said without looking up. "Maybe it isn't," Doyle replied. "But there it is. Your species doesn't possess enough mass or velocity to generate that much force. I calculated it. Even factoring in your ridiculous adrenaline surges and that primitive musculature." He shrugged. "Could be technique. Technique doesn't bend gravitational fields." Outside, the squad stood at an awkward distance from the fallen predator, unsure if they should shoot it, salute it, or poke it with a stick. Private Garza, having returned in shame, cleared his throat. Sergeant? It's twitching." Doyle stepped out, coffee in hand. The creature's massive chest rose and fell in shallow breaths. It was recovering. Cowrie followed, now visibly shaking. "It's adapting. That's what it does. It was created to evolve through combat, to learn from its defeats. If it wakes, it will be immune to your slap." Doyle raised an eyebrow. "You're saying it'll slap back?" "I'm saying next time, it won't be caught off guard." The creature stirred. Its fingers flexed, claw tips carving deep lines into the rock. "Then I'd better make this next one count," Doyle muttered. "No!" Cowrie grabbed his arm. "You don't understand. This isn't some monster of the week you can outpunch. This is a recursive apex entity. You beat it once, maybe twice. But eventually it will learn every move, every angle, every—" "Hey!" Doyle looked her dead in the eye. "It doesn't know me." The Zerzal rose. Slower this time, but steady. One eye remained swollen shut. Its jaw hung crooked. But the look in its surviving eye wasn't fear. It was curiosity. It spoke, voice rougher now. "What are you?" "Human," Doyle said. "And you're trespassing." The Zerzal looked around, then back at him. "Pain. I have known pain. But not humiliation. That was the warm-up. I must evolve. Understand. You will provide data." Doyle glanced at Cowrie. "Is it asking for a rematch?" Cowrie didn't answer. She was backing away, whispering into her comm unit. The creature shifted, crouched again. But it didn't leap this time. It moved in a blur, serpentine fast, low to the ground, circling. Trying to flank. Doyle turned with it, calm. He set the coffee down gently. The squad didn't dare intervene. Not out of orders, but all. Something had shifted in the fabric of what they thought reality was. The Zerzal struck again. A feint. Then a lunge. This time, it came from the side, claws raised for a disabling blow, not a kill. It wanted him alive. Doyle sidestepped. Just enough. His hand snapped up again, brutal, precise. But this time, the creature caught his wrist. The ground seemed to groan under their locked arms. Predictable, it growled. You are limited. Doyle smiled. You ever hear of a trick called the backhand? Before it could react, his other hand whipped around. The backhand slap landed with a thundercrack that echoed for miles. The Zerzal reeled, staggered, spun twice before collapsing again, this time not neatly, but in a ragged sprawl. Its breathing halted. Its body began emitting a low, confused tone, like a machine giving up on instructions. Calorie fell to her knees. That's not possible. The probability tree didn't account for dual-limbed synchronized blunt trauma. Doyle flexed his fingers. Most people don't see it coming. That's the point. Galnet just confirmed a psychic shockwave across 3 sectors. Garza whispered. There's reports of Zerzal brood ships turning around. Calorie looked up at Doyle, her voice soft. You've made a myth. He considered that. Picked up his coffee. It's about damn time. In orbit, Galactic Command was silent. No more orders came. No threats. Just one transmission beamed across the stars, from a Zerzal vessel to its entire species. A single image. A human. Hand raised. Waiting. And across the galaxy, things began to change. On the 74th floor of the Galactic Council spire, Ambassador Vural of the Creel Confederation stared at the slow-motion footage looping across the central holoscreen. Each frame dissected the backhand, trajectory lines, impact vectors, force calculations that grew increasingly absurd with every iteration. A slap wasn't supposed to leave sonic aftershocks, much less atmospheric distortions that registered on lunar sensors. Are we certain this isn't some kind of human visual trickery? Vural croaked. Across the room, Dr. Cowrie, now serving as Earth's provisional xenocultural liaison, sighed. I was there. I smelled the ozone. The slap was real. The myth is just catching up to it. She had barely returned from Earth when the messages began pouring in. Dozens of species wanted interviews, trade deals, defensive pacts. Not with Earth. With Doyle. His name was now a keyword on Galnet's top 5 trending list, just above. What happens if they use both hands? And, slap foo, is it teachable? Calorie rubbed her eyes. She hadn't slept in 2 standard days. Ever since the event, she had been bombarded with requests from historians, weaponization analysts, and spiritual leaders. One Aquilith priest had suggested Doyle might be an incarnation of the mythical Palm Father, destined to deliver divine judgment with his limbs. Down on Earth, Doyle himself sat in the shade of an old pine tree, boots up on a crate, sipping something brown and strong from a tin cup. His comm unit buzzed constantly, which he ignored with the indifference of a man who considered saving the galaxy a part-time inconvenience. He watched birds hop through the underbrush like nothing had changed. Maybe, for them, nothing had. Garza approached, tablet in hand and a mix of awe and exhaustion on his face. Sir, the Zerzal emissaries arrived. They're asking for peace talks. Peace? Doyle raised an eyebrow. Didn't they call us bipedal bacteria last week? Apparently, the slap reset their hierarchy protocol. You're now recognized as an Alpha Apex. Doyle gave a small nod. Good. Maybe next time they'll say please. Garza hesitated. They're also offering tribute. Gifts. Some kind of ceremonial armor. And a giant fruit basket. Tell them I'm allergic to praise. But I'll take the fruit. Back at the spire, a vote was called. For the first time in Galactic Council history, a single individual, non-diplomatic, non-elected, was granted honorary combat deference status. It meant one thing: do not engage unless you enjoy slapping-induced humiliation. Dozens of species began updating their first contact protocols to include a detailed analysis of human body language, particularly hand movements. Some worlds responded in stranger ways. On Threxion Prime, a martial arts school opened overnight, claiming to teach the way of the palm. On Gorthax 4, a metal band released a track titled 5 Fingers of Death World Funk. Within days, it topped charts in 7 systems. Merchandising exploded: action figures, slap-proof armor, even commemorative gloves rumored to be infused with Doyle's essence, though no one could verify what that meant. Cowrie found it all equal parts fascinating and exhausting. She drafted a formal scientific paper titled Kinetic Resonance Through Human Appendage: Cultural and Tactical Implications, which was immediately flagged for restricted access by 4 different military think tanks. Your planet, Bureau murmured as they reviewed another clip of Doyle lighting a cigar over the twitching corpse of Azazel. It frightens me. Cowrie didn't look up. It should. Back on Earth, the slap site was already marked off as a historical preserve. A transparent dome covered the crater, and tourists arrived in droves to stand on the viewing platform and whisper reverently. A plaque read, "Here stood a human, and the galaxy blinked first." Doyle visited it once. Just once. He stared at the spot, then at the sky, then lit a cigarette and muttered, "Still think I should have gone with the punch." Cowrie joined him there, arms folded. "They want to make a holiday," she said. "Slap day. Every rotation cycle." He rolled his eyes. "Guess we're lucky I didn't kick it. They would have named a religion." He turned to her. "You scared?" She considered. "Of you? No. Of what comes next?" "Terrified." He looked back at the sky. Something flickered in his gaze. Not pride. Not regret. Something quieter. The realization that myths, once born, don't belong to the people who made them. "I didn't ask for all this," he said. "No," Cowrie agreed. "You just slapped it into existence." A pause passed between them. Above, the stars shimmered with the knowledge of a galaxy forever changed. Somewhere far beyond the edge of map space, new predators stirred. Not to avenge the fallen Zerzel, but to understand the thing that had toppled them. They would come. Curiosity always did. Doyle lit another cigarette. "Let him come,"